Meet the new VW T-Roc, which is actually, well, it's the old VW T-Roc, but with what Volkswagen calls a suite of enhancements. So it's a facelift, in other words. To find out what those enhancements are and how much they add to the T-Roc, we're going to spend a bit of time getting to know this car. Before we do that, please do remember to subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel, turn on notifications, and of course remember to head to cargurus.co.uk when it comes time to find your next car, because that's when you're going to find loads of great deals from top-rated dealers all around the country, and we'll even sort them by best deals first. Eagle-eyed viewers might have spotted that this car is left-hand drive and wearing German number plates. Those aren't two of the enhancements, it's because we have been lucky enough to get early access to the car. We are, however, still in the UK on what is a very pleasant spring morning. So, what do we think of the updates to the T-Roc styling? Well, they are pretty minor, it has to be said. This front end is a bit smoother than before. We've got new lights, LEDs, also on higher spec models, this LED light bar, which is very reminiscent of the Mark 8 Golf, isn't it? Round to the side and rear, there's not much has changed. There's a new badge on the rear, and same on the front here, and the rear lights have a slightly darker tint than before. So overall, not huge differences outside, but I still think that this remains a really smart looking compact SUV. As for where it sits in the VW range, think above the T-Cross and new Taygo and below the Tiguan and Touareg. That's a lot of SUVs from one brand, isn't it? But when you realise that in 2021 SUVs accounted for 40% of VW sales, it's hardly surprising that they're building such a big range of them. In terms of where this one sits, so it is clearly smaller than a Tiguan. It's actually bumper to bumper, a bit shorter than a Golf. However, it's also wider and taller, which of course is what gives it that SUV aesthetic. It's also what helps to give it a really useful boot. So at the moment we've got this adjustable height floor set in its higher position. There's a very small loading lip, really practical. If you drop it down, you get an enormous boot. This is actually 445 litres, which is 17% bigger than the boot you get in a Golf. Do note, however, that in models with 4Motion four-wheel drive, you do lose a bit of boot space, and in all models, the seats fold down in a 60-40 split. So there's no change in interior space for this facelift, but what has changed are the trim levels. So now the T-Roc range starts with the entry-level Life, and then from there you can either go one way and choose a style model, which is more comfort and, well, style-oriented, or you can go the other way and choose an R-Line for a sportier aesthetic. This is an R-Line. All three of those are going to be the same in terms of space in the back. So you don't get seats that slide or backrests that recline, but the fundamentals are actually really good. So headroom is good. I've got enough legroom. I'm 5'11". You can see that driver's seat set for me, and this is perfectly comfortable. And also there's a lot of space under the seat to put my feet, which is good. I also quite like these cup holders in the armrest. Have these little bits that remove, and you can adjust them depending on the size of your cup, which is quite a neat touch. The middle seat itself, however, because you can have the T-Roc with all-wheel drive, you need this chunky transmission tunnel, and that means it's just another thing to straddle, and the seat itself is also a little bit narrow. It is in the front where the facelift is most obvious. So I remember when the T-Roc was first launched, climbing in and thinking that its interior fit and finish and materials just didn't feel quite as good as a Golf. I think VW has pretty much addressed that with this facelift. So it's got things like this panel on top of the dash is now squidgy, and it's got this stitching in. It looks and feels a lot nicer, much higher quality. You also get lots of this gloss black plastic, which is very fashionable in cars these days. It looks great when it's all clean, probably less so once your kids have wiped their mucky fingers all over it. But all in all, the interior of this facelifted T-Roc feels much more in line with VW's other offerings. Also helping to lift the sense of occasion in the T-Roc are these digital dials, which come as standard across the range. Just be aware that you only get these 10.25-inch digital dials in the higher spec Style and R-Line models. If you go for an entry-level Life model, you get an 8-inch display, which just doesn't look as good. It's not got quite the same sort of configurability as you get in this model. Elsewhere, you have a kind of a mixture of Mark 8 Golf touches and then still some of the older T-Roc functionality. So a row of buttons here, physical buttons, quite nice actually. And then the heater rotary dials, which I never had a problem with, they've been replaced by these sliders like you get in the Mark 8. The difference is, and I think it's a positive change, is that in the Mark 8 Golf, they're up here. In the T-Roc, they're down here. And that means you don't hit them by accident when you're using this infotainment system. On the subject of which, the infotainment has also been updated, of course. It wouldn't be a facelift if it hadn't. It's a good system. The graphics are great. Volkswagen can update this either at a dealership or over the air, so it can add new functionality and update features and glitches, and you can also of course connect your phone for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. As far as engines go, the T-Roc is perhaps starting to show its age a little bit, in the sense that there is no electric or plug-in hybrid or even a mild hybrid version available. You can, however, slightly unusually perhaps, still have a diesel. It's a 2-litre unit with either 115 or 150 horsepower, or you could do what most people do and go for one of the petrol engines. There's a 1 litre, a 1.5 litre and a 2 litre. Most models come with front-wheel drive, although if you go for one of the 2-litre engines, you can, if you want, select full motion all-wheel drive. As for gearboxes, the lower powered engines get a 6-speed manual, the higher powered engines get a 7-speed dual clutch automatic, and on the mid-level engines you can choose either. Today we're in the 1.5 litre T-Roc in R-Line trim, so this is a 4-cylinder turbo engine. We're familiar with this from plenty of other VW Group products. It's smooth, refined and still quite punchy. It's a great engine actually. That said, if your budget will only go to the 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo engine, that's also really good in the T-Roc. It performs surprisingly well given this car's size. It pulls strongly and it's pretty refined. Both of those engines will do around 40 to 45 miles per gallon in normal driving. For me, I think if I could find the budget, I would go for this 1.5, just because I think it is a really fantastic engine. Going for the 1.5 over the 1 litre will also cut 2 seconds off the 0 to 62 mile per hour time, coming in at 8.6 seconds. So this engine is refined and punchy, and actually this 6-speed gearbox is, well, it has an oily, slick precision to it that we're familiar with from other VW Group products. It's good, it's really good. And actually the whole way this car drives is good. It's got that refinement and composure to it. The ride comfort is good actually. Even in this R-Line model it rides well. But I think where the T-Roc really stands out against some other SUVs is that it's genuinely good fun. The steering is quick, the chassis feels nice and balanced, it turns in well, it grips well. I think a Ford Puma is ultimately still a bit more fun, but with this 1.5 litre engine in particular, with it having a bit of punch, it's a fun, enjoyable car to drive. It's no hot hatch, but yeah, it's satisfying. The T-Roc then remains a really good all-rounder, and that's before you remember that the T-Roc range has a couple of other tricks up its sleeve. Namely, VW has retained in the T-Roc lineup the T-Roc R, which is kind of a Golf R in a T-Roc body, so a small SUV hot hatch, and the T-Roc convertible, which, as the name suggests, is a T-Roc with a soft top. And so, if what you crave is a small SUV that can either set your hair on fire or blow the wind through it, then you are well catered for. For most though, it is going to be one of the more regular 5-door models with one of the more regular engines, much like this car in fact, that is going to hold the most appeal. Now clearly this is not a vastly different car from the pre-facelift model, but we would say that the suite of enhancements that Volkswagen have made do make a small but noticeable difference, and in fact they help to keep this as one of the top cars in its class. We'd say it's a job well done. Would the T-Roc be on your shortlist? Let us know in the comments, and please do remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll know when our latest reviews go live.